I'm Leo Warder for Kit Guru, and this PC here is from PC Specialist. It's part of their new Liquid series. Specifically, this is the LS Liquid series, M02. I haven't hooked up a monitor to this to run it and show you a benchmark for two reasons. For one, it's a big case, this Corsair Carbide Air 540, and putting a screen on the table means it just takes up everything. And two, it runs a Core i7 overclock with a GTX 980, and quite frankly, it plays games. It just does. Showing you a benchmark really wouldn't achieve a great deal apart from a bit of eye candy. So instead we're going to concentrate on the PC itself. So this is PC Specialist LS M02, and it's going to cost you £1 under £2,000. Quite an expensive PC. So we've got high-end components, and the emphasis is on their custom loop liquid cooling system, which is primarily Alphacool, although if you want to configure your own system you can get a bit of EKWB in there as well. But this is mainly Alphacool. The CPU block is something different. I'll come to that in a moment. Carbide Air 540, I almost think they're having a little bit of a joke on us, because this twin chamber designed to flow loads of air obviously works with liquid cooling, but the air name in it just seems a bit ironic to me to then go and whack a liquid cooling system in it. Anywho, I've taken off the main panel with a window, which is this here. Which works very nicely, shows off almost all of the interior, which is of course what you want here, and there are around the periphery here some white LEDs to show off a bit more of the innards. On the other side we have a plain panel, two thumb screws, and that comes away to reveal the twin chamber nature of the Corsair case, which is particularly handy here because it means not only do you have the power supply, you also have the pump hidden away, as you can see there. So it's the choice of components that is key here. PC Specialist with these Liquid Series PCs are offering you a choice of 4 different cooling systems. They are called, quite logically, entry, mid, high and extreme. This is mid. Now the entry gives you CPU block, 240mm radiator, 2 fans, 150mm reservoir. This is a 250 reservoir, so 150 is like yay, and a pump. And it's only for cooling your CPU. You can't then extend it, they say, to include a GPU. This mid has a Phobia CPU block, and then Alphacool radiator, 2 fans, 250mm Alphacool reservoir, and an Aerocool, yes, Alphacool reservoir, Aerocool pump, which is all fine. If you want to extend the liquid cooling to include the GPU on this pre-built system, pre-configured system, it includes an Alphacool NexXxoS, horrible word, NexXxS. How you say that out loud is totally beyond me, but that's the GPU block on there. If you choose, you can instead have an EKWB block and backplate as an alternative. This mid kit supports, as you can see, both CPU and GPU. Then you can move up a notch. The high-end kit is CPU block, 240 radiator and a 360 radiator, 5 fans, 250 reservoir as per, and a pump, which will handle up to 3 GPUs. And then the extreme, which is the full monster thing, is a pair of 360 rads, 6 fans, 2 250 reservoirs, dual pumps. Basically is this times 2. Give or take. And that can obviously handle anything you want quite clearly, as the high-end kit can do anything you want. The extreme is just for visual bling. The coolant in this is Mayhems Ice White, looks fairly funky, and then they've included a wiring kit to go on the Corsair power supply, which is a colour braided kit, black and white from Cablemods. The price on we've done some Cablemods in the past, you're looking around the £75–80 mark for the cables. So although it's just, in inverted commas, to colour match your system, it do cost a fair amount of money. One quirk of the layout of this system, obviously it logically makes perfect sense. Liquid there, flow up through, radiator at top, back round, no problem whatsoever, is that because the pump's on the back side alongside the power supply, when it was running at full chat, at first I actually thought the power supply might be suffering a little bit of sort of shriek from the coils, a bit of coil one. And then I looked again and realised it wasn't that, it was just a bit of pump noise. It's just because the pump is next to the power supply. When you hear a noise from Duh. As it happens, the power supply is a Corsair gold rated PSU, absolutely fine. And that's rated at 850 watts. When the system was under full load, it drew a trivial amount actually. 300 watts rings a bell. Got to figure it. No, less. 300 under extreme load, which varied a little bit. In 3D Mark, less. So the power supply doesn't reach 50% of load in this configuration. There's another reason why I'm not showing you this system running, apart from to tell you, and obviously figures on KitGuru as per usual, that if you have a GTX 980, it's an EVGA, it's a superclock model, so it runs a bit faster than a stock speed. So reference speed would be 1126 base, 1216 boost, 1100, 1200. This base speed 1266, 1367 boost, so 150 megahertz extra. Works very nicely, gives you a bit of extra oomph, and you're away. The Core i7 6700K Skylake processor, they've tweaked that a tad. They've cranked it up to 4.8 gigahertz, which in our experience 4.6 is actually what they say you will definitely get, and we've had this before with other manufacturers. Depending on how good the processor is and how reliable it is, 4.7, 4.8 generally you've got a decent chance of getting that. 5 on the other hand gigahertz, it takes a very special 6700K to go that level. So 4.6 guaranteed, this is 4.8, and that actually involved very little work. So you've got 115 base clock, 40 times that, 1.3 core voltage, and then one of the other CPU voltages was raised to 1.2. That's all they've done. And it flies along. The result is also that the memory runs at a slightly curious speed because of that 115 base clock. Its actual speed is 2645 megahertz. But frankly, whether it's 2666, 264, or fast, no two ways about it. The test figures I've done on KitGuru are running at Full HD 1920 by 1080. It is a fact that you can play games with a Core i7 and a GTX 980 at 4K. I do it myself. My own PC runs actually that same graphics card, albeit a different cooling block on it, the same EVGA. It plays 4K games without too much difficulty. You just have to be a little bit sensible with the settings. So that is absolutely fine. The quality of the hardware throughout this is tip-top. Asus Maximus 8 Ranger motherboard, Core i7 6700K, some Kingston DDR4 at the speeds I mentioned, 16 gig thereof, EVGA overclocked graphics card, obviously the cooling system, a bunch of fans throughout. We've got, now you may not have noticed this when I turned it around briefly, in one of the drive bays here we have a Kingston 480 gig SSD, HyperX. Up here we have a 2 terabyte Western Digital black hard drive. I knew it was in the case, and I was looking around at first thinking, is it somewhere? Oh, there it is up there. So the cooling system, it works very well. It works exactly as well as any custom loop should work. To the extent that CPU idles 27, GPU idles 26, CPU under load 56, GPU under load 40. And that CPU under load I actually think is significant. That's running Ada 64, so that's stress test unpleasant. That's unnatural unpleasant. Now obviously 56, if you're used to air cooling, is quite impressive. I maintain that if you have an LGA 2011 processor, temperatures will be lower still, because to my mind they're just better. They get rid of heat better. Skylake is better than the 4 series. Even so, I don't think that an overclocked desktop processor sheds heat as well as 2011. That's my personal experience. So although 56 degrees sounds really, really good, that actually is because the cooling system is working overtime and the processor. But there we go. So low temperatures, much lower than if you're running either an all-in-one or indeed an air cooler, and it does look the absolute business. It's not whisper quiet. It just isn't. It's not horrible, but the noise is there. There's just no two ways about it, and that's because they've overclocked the thing. And the fans therefore are constantly running. If you work, you can certainly with the liquid cooling system, you can crank everything down and it can respond as necessary. Asus BIOS and fan control and such like is as good as any. It's top notch. If you don't overclock, or you don't overclock much, then that really helps. This system at idle is drawing 95 watts. And that's entirely mostly down to the overclock on the processor, because the graphics card and the rest of them, when they're idling away, should draw next to nothing. So that's going to be down to the processor and that base clock increase. And that is surely because PC Specialist is going for, we've got a thunderously fast Core i7, and people are drawn to numbers. If it said 5 gigahertz, it would be a big headline. 4.8, yes indeed, guaranteed 4.6. You can't complain about it. People are drawn to numbers. Unfortunately, the consequence is you get heat and power and heat, and therefore you get noise. It's a tragedy. But there we have it. It performs like a champ. Absolutely great. Build quality is good. If you look to the back of the thing, you can see the power supply cabling is it's not beautiful, but it is completely tucked away behind that side panel. You simply cannot see it. You cannot complain. It's a big case. The footprint of this case is large. I mean, just look up the thing. But the dual chamber design in this instance helps, because it means that your drives, your power supply and your pump all packed away there. Around this side, pretty stuff. So can't complain. So to wrap things up, we like PC Specialist Liquid Series. Just because you want a custom loop, it does not necessarily follow you're going to build the thing yourself. You might just want to give the money to an expert and have them hand over the finished item. Well, here you go. We came across 2 wrinkles in our testing. The first, noise levels, which to our mind are just a tad too high. PC Specialist says they have this in hand. They're going to sort out a fan profile that will make it quieter. We assume this means BIOS settings rather than hardware changes. We have no reason to disbelieve them. So let's put that as being addressed. More significantly is the launch of GTX 1080. It's unfortunate this is a 980 when 1080 is now king of the heap, but realistically, if you wanted the biggest, baddest PC on the market, you wouldn't be buying a 980, you'd be buying a Titan X or pair of Titan X's. Now 1080's come along, kind of the same thing applies. Nonetheless, PC Specialists clearly will address this and update once they get water blocks from their suppliers. As things stand, therefore, 980 good, other things better, obviously also more money. Performance and all the rest of it, absolutely superb. Overclocked Core i7 along with 980 equals hurrah, very happy. Every other aspect of the system, completely happy. It's a winner. It's a good PC, and more to the point, it's a good series of PCs, because it's the options you get with Liquid Series that set this apart. It's not one PC, it's a whole array, and we like it a great deal. I'm Neil Wood for Kit Guru. This is PC Specialist LS M02.